Hi crafty friends, this is Julia and I have another video for you showing how you can create really nice effects with their colored pencils on Kraft cardstock. I'm just on a roll when it comes to this technique, and I'm using purple onion design stamps today. Now I've started out with a card base here. I've added a stitched line with a little inker designs die. All the supplies will be listed in the video description and on my blog. And I'm going to be using the campfire stamp by Purple Onion Designs. And I've stamped this with my favorite things, black licorice ink. And now I'm picking out the colors, and I have this color cheat sheet here that I created, those color swatches for my polychromos pencils, just so it's easier for me to pick out which colors I want to use. Now you've heard me tell you that ad nauseum to work in layers, so you can see me putting down a super light layer here of color, and then I'm coming in with my darker colors and putting in, I don't want to really say the shadows here, it's more like the more colorful areas. And it's not my goal at the very beginning to get perfect coverage. You do this in subsequent layers where you blend the colors together. I'm only trying to get my fire to look dimensional here, basically by making sure that you have very light tips and it's very dark at the bottom. I'm using several yellows and oranges for this technique, just to give the fire more vibrance. My original plan was actually to just do the fire and not do anything else, but then later on I started to work on a background and I just couldn't help myself. Now for the stones, I know at first it doesn't look like much, but by building up the layers here and by gradually going down the path towards a darker gray color, you can see just how much dimension I can add to the stones and make them look much more interesting than coloring them in with just one single color. Because I sometimes get the question, is it really worth it to do a lot of these details on smaller images? And I think you can see here on these stones just how much worth it is to go from the dark gray to the light gray to the white, because now the stones really look rounded and dimensional and more like real life. Then I grabbed some pearlescent watercolors and added some of them on top of the colored image, simply to make it shine more. You don't need to have pearlescent watercolors for this. You can use perfect pearls, mix it into water, and then pick up regular watercolors with it. It will also add the shine. Or you can skip this step completely. I simply wanted this fire to really shine and sparkle. That's the only reason I did it. If you have Wink of Stella, you could even use the Wink of Stella glitter brush pen to go on top of this. So whatever floats your boat, do whatever you like best. Don't feel compelled to copy this exactly. Do whatever feels natural to you. Now for the background. I'm sorry, that's a little bit blurry. This is my first layer, and as you can see, it doesn't look great at all. It looks really messy and unpleasant, but that's okay because we're working in layers. So the first layer is basically just to give me an idea of where my darkest color will go, where my lighter color will go. This is already the second layer here, and you can see I'm still not applying a lot of pressure. Now we're going to jump ahead, and I think this is my fourth layer, and now I'm applying more pressure. But you can see that still like quite a bit of the cardstock peeks through, but I am getting much better coverage. And of course I'm doing this for all the colors that I'm using in the background here, blending between them to get the colors to mix together nicely. But of course it's not completely mixed yet. So I'm grabbing my blending solution and a big paper stump, and I'm using the blending solution to blend the colors together. I like to do this for backgrounds simply because it's such a huge area. You can totally just blend that with the pencils. That is absolutely possible. It just takes a lot of work and it really works out your arms, I'm telling you. So I'm being lazy and I'm using the blending solution with the paper stump to blend that together. And it works just as well. So totally happy with that. Yes, you know me, and I know a lot of you have cried, bloody murder when I didn't add dots to some of my cards recently. So here are your dots. I only wanted to have it, just the dots like this, and then later on I added an entire starry background. I couldn't just help myself. And of course I had to break out my Stardust gel pen. This just my addiction. I just love those sparkly dots. Aren't they beautiful? I think they are totally beautiful. Yeah, I can't stop. I can't stop. And then at the very end, I used a black gel pen to enhance some of the stamped lines simply for additional contrast. You can absolutely skip this, it's not necessary to do this, but I wanted to have more contrast here, and so I'm just enhancing some of the lines with the black gel pen. And I heat embossed the Sentiment Party Time with Wow Black Twinkle embossing powder, so it's also sparkly and shiny. And here is a close-up of the fire. You can see just how much it sparkles thanks to the pearlescent watercolors that I put on top of it. And then I'll be showing you a close-up of the entire card with the background that we created on the Kraft cardstock. And I outlined the fire with my white gel pen to simply give some additional contrast to it. I hope you've enjoyed this card and the technique. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and please subscribe to my channel. There are a lot more awesome videos to come. Bye bye.